This conference will
Unfortunately, it is
now
what
be
it is.
recorded.
All right, guys. So happy Monday. Today is Monday, April 6th. And as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right. So IMMU, what a one hell of a move all the way from that 10 level up to pretty much our 26 coming in. Now, the one thing that I've been seeing is that pretty much on its way down, we've just been seeing a lot of selling that's been coming in. If you come back to, earlier this morning, right before we start our meeting, you can see that 2050, we can see 20. Now, remember, 20 is just a notorious level for stocks to really be a big pain. So keep that in mind sitting around this 20 level, because it's just, we've seen so many times of how hard it is for it to really break, how it comes right back up afterwards, and it really kind of sits around that 20 building before we end up getting our real move. So that's just something that you definitely do want to keep in mind. But as we can see, as we're coming closer into the morning, right now we're getting selling underneath that 20 level. Now, you can see right here, this is a very odd position because it would have been a weird spot to kind of cover because it was just kind of continuing to go down. So it does look like we're starting to get some buying, but at the same time, you see this new selling right here. So one thing that we do want to look at is this pattern. We have pretty much an extended staircase at this moment. So I would not be shocked. I mean, the only problem is that we don't really have that great of buying up around where our highs were. But overall, a trigger back towards that upside because of the pattern that it's in would be a really substantial move towards that upside. But we just keep seeing that selling. So as long as we keep seeing this selling, I'm going to expect it to pop up above that 21st and then end up coming back down underneath. But overall, like I said, be ready, because if we do get that trigger, and within that trigger towards the upside, you see a ton of selling, ton of buying coming back in, this thing can really move back up above there. But it just, unfortunately, like I said, it doesn't have the print up there to give us a real strong trigger. That trigger is going to have to be full of buying, and we're going to have to see a lot of buying that's coming in during this consolidation to show us that it has enough room to continue on its way up. Next thing, CODX. Make sure that you're going out there and looking and trying to get shares for this, just because we know that this thing can move both ways. So just make sure to get them before the market actually opens. We can see coming down to this 1050. 1050 is a pretty strong level, but then obviously 10 is a very, very strong level. So we need to hold this 10 in order for this thing to really be able to get back up there. Because if we look, but you have some buying around the 11 spot, 1130 right here from earlier. But there's really not much up here, up around that 12. Now, overall, we do have buying from there from the aftermarket on Friday, but that 12 level, I just really wish they would have pushed into that and shown us something up there, and unfortunately, they did not. So this is another one where we really don't have that buying near the highs. We're going to need to make sure that within this consolidation, if we're going to go towards that upside, we have to see them start to build and some type of position coming into there. You can see 11 has a little bit there, but with a stock like this, it's just, that's not enough. We're not going to base our trade. So we really need to see some type of real show of hand come into CODX before we decide exactly what we're going to be doing with it. But based off the variables, we can see that it's definitely going to be a mover today. Now, VIR, another one where this thing, it's not the prettiest looking trade, and the volume is a little bit garbage, but overall it has just so many variables that I really do like. Okay, first of all, it's going to be range. It's moved $12 already. Now moved $12 on nothing, so most of the time we end up seeing this thing come right back down. Perfectly fine with me. Just make sure that you go out there and that you get shares for this. You can see at the 40, 39, I mean, there's just not really anything on the bigger side of things that happened this morning so far. So this move towards that upside, I just don't have any faith in whatsoever. We start to see selling coming, and this thing can get back down to 30 very easily. But once again, just like everything else that we've really been seeing, we need to see some type of show of hand that's going to come in there. INO. So INO is not even going to be on our side list. It is a Regulus stock, and you can see just some more buying that came in at 850, but really like this little position right here that came in before 851, right before we started our meeting, and never really pulled back. So it kind of looks like that's what we're doing right now. You can see a little bit more buying that's coming in at that 850. Now 860 and 850. You see this selling right here? I'm not so worried about that because it does need to make a pretty big pullback from that 850, but overall going to be looking for a trigger back towards the upside. It has a lot of buying that's been coming in, even off-level buying. Remember, the selling I'm not worried about. I know people are going to be selling it. Closed at 774. We're talking about a dollar move to the upside. I understand that they're going to be selling. I'm worried about that new buying that's coming in, and we continuously are seeing a little bit of it. Definitely would like to see more, but unfortunately, we it is what it is. And then other than that, okay, one thing I do want to point out is just ZM. Just keep an eye on it, man. This even pre-market, it's just been very, very smooth. Been following the rules really almost perfectly this morning. So no real great show of hand that came into it yet, but at the same time, definitely something I'm going to be keeping an eye on just because I love the way that it actually is trading. CCL, I can see, is making a run right now, as well as DAL and AAL. So let's make sure that we're paying attention to our cruise lines as well as our airlines. And other than that, that's about it. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there that I missed? All right, so that looks like it. So let's get ready for our morning. Let's remember what we talked about in the 3 weeks of classes that we did. Let's make sure that we're focusing on our biggest weaknesses and we're focusing on the habit that is going to affect our trading the most today. All right, guys, I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.